Ladies and gentlemen, now today I thought for a bit of fun we would take our maxed out 4-star Omega Red into Variant, because I've just put the Suicide Masteries on and I want to revisit some champions and have a little bit of fun. But Omega Red is a champion that a lot of people at the endgame play, but my 5-star version of Omega currently is not awakened, and to make Omega really good as a champion, you need his awakened ability, you need a lot of signature levels to really ramp up the degeneration damage, and also you need to run the Suicide Masteries. But as you can see here, he is absolutely tearing through this first fight, the Buffet X23. A bit of a risky play toward the end with special 2 into block, but hey, you know, it worked out. 26 hits, absolutely phenomenal performance from a maxed out 4-star against a variant level opponent. However, today it's not all about the damage output. I also wanted to show some clever ways that you can play Omega to deal with some matchups that you might not necessarily think that Omega can handle, and one of those matchups is Mephisto. Now, Mephisto, when playing with Omega, you don't want to do any attacks against him aside from heavy attacks to kind of put on the degeneration, which is going to lock your death spores. So the objective in this matchup really is to stay as close as possible when he doesn't have his Aura of Incineration. You know, whenever we parry him, we kind of wait next to him just so we have the most time possible in order to allow spores to apply to Mephisto, so that when we apply the heavy attack degeneration, that's going to deal as much damage as possible. Now he's got a special 2, we need to get a little bit away from this lad, just kind of make a little bit of space here. I decide because all of my spores have dropped off, we're just going to wait this one out, kind of evade this. But so far, man, we've taken him down like just above 40%, so already we've made a pretty decent dent in this Mephisto matchup. It's going quite well so far. We haven't taken too much damage as well from the Aura of Incineration, but now I need to stay close to him, just parry, you know, build up those death spores via proximity, so that I can apply the degeneration, and that's really going to start eating at the health there. If you're very observant as well, you might be able to see that when we have the degeneration on, the combined damage is ticking at just over 800 every half a second. So as long as we have degeneration and 10 death spores up, then we are dealing 1,600 damage to Mephisto every single second. So yeah, that's a lot of nice damage, man. And you can see once we get into that phase where we got 10 death spores and the degeneration, he really starts to go down. However, my degen was about to expire there. I had nothing really to do with the power, so I thought we'd apply the special 3 and throw that one off. That way it's going to drain a little bit of his health and power as soon as he comes out of it, and top Omega Red up a little bit more. So yeah, we go up to 62%. I think that was an almost 20% regeneration there. A little bit of a risky heavy. I threw it a little bit too late, was being a bit too greedy with the death spores there. But he's got 9 stacks. We fire off the heavy, managed to get back up to 10. He got 2 auras off that heavy, so you know, we're trying to stay away from him, but lucky our degeneration's still on there. And then we heavy again, perfect degeneration. We did not lose any death spores at all, so that was a really decent time. And then we wait out this one. I should have actually delayed that heavy attack a little bit. I could have clipped that one on, not lost any death spores there. Go for another heavy attack. However, we don't have the 10 death spores yet, so the damage isn't there. I saw he was almost dead through a special 2, but there we go. Omega Red counters Mephisto if you are very patient and a little bit slow at taking those matchups. And again, none of the gameplay today. It is with the Suicide Masteries, but we aren't using any champion boost as well. And if you're doing a variant 100% and taking a harder path like this, usually you've got like a 20% boost on. So just something to potentially keep in mind there if you're thinking about taking on this content with Omega. Playing around today with a maxed out 4-star version of Omega Red has got me very excited for the future, man, where hopefully we can awaken our 5-star version, because he's just a really fun champion to play, and he's quite quirky. There are a lot of different ways that you can play him, depending on the matchup and what you're trying to achieve as well. With Omega as well, there's so much great base utility in terms of the double immunities, the regeneration, the ability to counter damage back from champions like Electro and Korg, and also the ability for shrug-offs to fail and nodes like Masochism to fail when you have 10 plus death spores on the opponent. However, as you'll see here, I don't think that works for some reason in the King Groot matchup. So we go for a stun and heavy attack here, and you're going to see that it still consumes the Fury, and he still shrugs blocks it off. So yeah, I don't really understand what happened there, but luckily we got very lucky with the timing and still managed to get our heavy attack off and not get punished. So it's a pretty good time. With 24 stacks, we've been getting approximately 2,400 damage every single second to King Groot. So yeah, just absolutely tearing this lad apart. And for the finish, just for, you know, a bit of showmanship and also to regenerate here, we fire off the special 3, which starts to siphon power and also health after. And because he's still got the degeneration on him from the heavy attack, that man is instantly dead. So yeah, a very nice little finish to that one. So a really good start to this path from a Mega Red here, and he dealt with those big regeneration buffet fights like they were absolutely nothing, completely tore through them. However, look here, we just stalled for a second, and the reason is, if you've already got the heavy attack degeneration on the opponent, then usually you want to wait and just get the full duration of your parry stun before you go in for like a standard combo, and this just allows you to get max time to apply death spores to the opponent, especially like at the start of the fight when you've got the increased cap of death spores to 30 because you're bleeding. So yeah, that's a nice little tip that I picked off watching some Mega Red gameplay on YouTube. It was probably off Brian Grant, man, because he plays Omega all of the time and he's, you know, tremendously good now. So yeah, that's just a little Omega tip to get a little bit more damage there if you're not super familiar with the champion already. Here with the Venom the Duck matchup, to finish this one off just before the end of the fight, I throw off the special 3 to get topped up. You can see here with 10 death spores leeching, we're at 37%, and then after this we're siphoning health and go up to 54%. So there's a pretty solid regeneration there off of the special 3, and also it drains a bit of the opponent's power as well. I probably should have had like a bit more power on Venom the Duck to drain off that lab, but still, you know, a pretty good fight there. Now, let's have a look at a fight in this chapter as well, where we do have the class disadvantage, which is Red Skull. And as many of you know, if you don't have an option that has a lot of damage over time or armor break, Red Skull can be really annoying to fight because he has a lot of, you know, crit and damage resistance. However, a Mega Red, all this degeneration damage is absolutely hammering this man down. We're getting close to 900 damage per second with the 17 stacks of Death Spore active. So yeah, he's just doing really, really well, and we're just trying to, you know, keep that heavy attack active and refresh the degeneration off the heavy every time it does expire. And also, if you get the timing right of the special 1, you can also heavy counter at the end of it to kind of land your heavy there and apply a bit of degeneration. So there are some good timing intervals, but here, you know, it wasn't going to apply the degeneration. We're going for a 5 combo, get this man backed against the wall, and then dodge that one. I think we go for a heavy attack counter there. Now we just need to parry, get him to 10 death spores, and this man is straight in the bin. So yeah, nice little finish on the Red Skull matchup there. Just very quick and very efficient for, you know, like a 4-star with class disadvantage versus a very large Red Skull. That was a pretty good matchup. This next matchup certainly isn't the best one for a Mega Red because there's a lot of stuff that can fail against Domino, like your heavy attack, applying the degeneration, but it is still a matchup that can work, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the point, to highlight that these matchups can potentially turn out alright. But you can see there we got a failure on the heavy attack twice in a row, so no degeneration at the start, not really having much tempo going into this Domino matchup. Managed to bait out a special 2, and this Domino variant is exceptionally annoying, first and foremost just because she's Domino, and the second reason is because she does have a spite power gain node as well, so that is tremendously annoying. But if you can stick some heavy attacks, get that degeneration going, you can see already she's down 50% here, so we're making a solid dent so far. Now here you'll notice that you can actually heavy counter Domino, so if she does go to throw a heavy attack, you can quickly retaliate with your heavy attack as well, which is a neat little trick that I managed to discover today. Managed to parry the special 1 there, get another heavy, the degeneration sticks. So yeah, it's a bit of a battle against Domino as per always, but you know, she's just one of those champions that is a massive, massive pain to deal with for all sorts of fun and interactive Clown Fiesta reasons. Now here we throw off a special 2, go for a nice little finish. We're almost there, we get the degeneration, she gets power flood, but luckily those remaining death spores on Domino managed to take that last down. So that was a pretty good time, you know, not the worst matchup I've ever had against Domino, but also certainly not the be-all and end-all counter for that fight. Now, next up as well, I thought we'd test out the Spike Rhino just for a little bit of fun, because this lad does have some very high physical resistance, and one of the things that Mega Red is great for, again, is just all of this degeneration damage, just completely ignoring that, because if you look at a Mega Red's damage output, especially like considering stuff like the Mephisto matchup, and the matchup you're going to see very shortly against Iron Man Infinity War, you just start to realize that a good 80% or so of a Mega Red's damage output is from the Death Spores playing very aggressively, you know, getting heavy attacks off. Like, this man is just pure degeneration for the most part, and the basic attacks, you know, they are woven in and they do deal some alright damage, especially if you've got stuff like the Wolverine synergy as well, but that degeneration damage is just the massive source of damage. So that's why it's very important that a Mega Red is not only awakened but also has a very high signature level, because that scales up the damage there very nicely. Absolutely dominated is probably the best two words to describe that Rhino fight. It went really well, and we managed to get a big chunk of regeneration toward the end. However, I also did want to show this matchup, and this is probably one of the dodgiest matchups in the history of Marvel Contest of Champions. But it worked, ladies and gentlemen. It worked in the end. A Mega Red versus Iron Man Infinity War. So I didn't really expect this one to work, just because we had taken so much block damage toward the start. But here the plan is just to keep the heavy attacks up so we can keep the degeneration and keep that massive Death Spore damage rolling. Here I'm starting to get, you know, a little bit worried, man, because we're on like 20%, we still got 50% to go, and also the final armor up phase of power gain, and if we mistime that with a degeneration, that's going to be very painful. But we get another special too. Iron Man Infinity War is now dropping below 25%, so I just need one more heavy attack, I believe, to finish it off, especially with the Assassin's Range Mastery kicking in. So yeah, we dodged the special one there. He clips me with another special one, but we just about managed to kill him with the degeneration. So that was really jammy, man. That was the jammiest kill ever. But ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy today's video, please do smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Aside from that, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.